You ready to do this, Matt?
Uh-huh. Punch it, Chewie.
Welcome, super friends, to the Fortress of Nerditude podcast, a safe place to talk about all things in nerd and pop culture. I'm Spencer Stapleton, and my co-pilot is Matt Shaw. We're two nerds that just refuse to grow up. Thank you for joining us. This is episode 163. We release every Thursday morning. You can find us on the website, fortofnerd.com. We have links to iTunes, Google Music, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, and everywhere podcasts are available. Stop by and relax a while. If you like what you're hearing, hit that subscribe button and get us automatically each and every week in your ear holes. Matt, how are you this week?
I am great. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I mean, I feel like we've done this already, but sure.
Well, this is the first time we've spoken since the New Year, so...
Does it feel like it's been a long time since we've talked?
Well, it kind of does.
I mean, for the last 8 weeks, we've had the normal podcast, and then we've had the sidekick podcast.
I kept thinking, there's something. I know there's something I got to do tonight. There's something I got to do tonight.
Right.
But no, I was like, did we record that last Mandalorian episode? I can't remember. But
we did. We did.
We did. It wasn't just a dream. It happened, and it's over.
Yes, it did. So what's been happening this long week since we last spoke?
Oh, goodness. We got a new couch, which is fun. I know you recently got some new stuff too, a couple of months ago.
We got some couches and beds and stuff a couple months ago.
So
what made you decide to go get new furniture?
We got some nice Christmas bonus, so it was time to do some minor upgrades, cosmetic comfort things.
Yeah.
I took down the Christmas lights today off the house and everything this afternoon. I just went, I'm just going to do it. So
off the house? Man, that's crazy talk around here.
I went all out, took it all down. Everyone else on my street's completely dark. So I was like, I guess I better do it right now. So took all of that down. Christmas has been down for a while now here. And, man, just been hanging out, saw my family off. My sister, who's been here from England, we saw her off. My sister, who's visiting from college, is back up in your neck of the woods out there in Utah. And my little brother, who's never left home, is leaving tomorrow morning to go to Utah as well. So it's been a lot of goodbyes and some late nights with the kids. Emmy has not been ideal with her sleeping, which she's always been a good sleeper, but my gosh, she woke up at like 3 a.m. and Jessie stayed in her room and like sang to her for like an hour. And then she was like, okay, your turn. And then I went in there and I walked in and I just said, Emmy, I have a sore throat. I'm not singing to you, but I'll stay with you. And then it was restless and trying to sleep in her room, and it was just miserable. She has this teeny tiny toddler bed I was trying to sleep on because she sleeps in her pack and play. It was a long night, a series of long nights, really. But I'm watching a new show.
Ooh, what are you watching?
This new show, we started it last night. It's very scary. Or we started watching the Dracula show. It's a BBC miniseries that's on Netflix.
I've heard about it.
Yeah. I mean, it is brand new-ish. I mean, it says 2020 on my Netflix. So it's just barely released, at least here in the States. And wow. It's dark. It is very dark, very scary. But oh man, the first 3/4 of that first episode are just so good. So we started that, really enjoying it, as creepy and gross and as it is.
Yeah.
Love that though. We're kind of into that over here a little bit. we're happy people, but we embrace the darkness. We embrace the Tim Burton of it all and kind of that twisted sense of humor and entertainment. I don't know, kind of our thing a little bit. But anyway, that was the week, just kind of saying goodbye and hanging out and being with families for a little bit here and there, and that was it. How was your week?
Wow. My week was good. Let's see here. Gosh, I spent a lot of time streaming in my off time, continuing to play the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which I think, according to a couple people I was talking to, and depending on how often I die, I'm probably like 2 to 3 hours away from the end of the game. So I'm fairly deep into the game. Let's see here. I worked more on my computer. I had some friends on Twitch get on and help me kind of dial in because some of the audio alerts weren't working right. And I got that figured out now. I've got my Stream Deck set up so it does a number of things. So I can just one hotkey button touch something while I'm playing, and I can, drop some information into the chat, or I can, mute my mic if the kids come down or Brita comes down. I need to talk real quick, change scenes, just a bunch of different things. So that's been kind of good. Oh gosh. Today was the first day of school for the kids going back. So of course they were a little rough tonight. I'm not going to lie. They got kind of a normal-ish sleep, but they haven't been to school in 2 weeks. And they're used to playing and just running kind of wild. So I get a phone call in the middle of the day, and Brita says, "So I just got a phone call from Charlie."
Oh,
and I say, "Wait a minute, you got a phone call from Charlie? How's that even possible? He's 7. He doesn't have a phone." She's like, he was in the office at school, and he called and said, "Mom, I need you to come to school and bring me new shoes." And no, he says, "Mom, I slipped and fell in a mud hole. Yeah, and he says, "And I need you to come and bring me new shoes and new socks and new pants and maybe new underwear in case I got mud in my underwear too." And she said, I talked to her later, and she said, and I asked Charlie, I said, "What did you do?" And Brita told me, just it was funny, trying to kind of help him in the middle of the day and whatnot. But, she did have to go take some time off. And Charlie said, "Well, I was out playing, and I saw this muddy spot, and so I thought I'd step in it and see what it was like. And I slipped and I fell." I was like, "Hey, bud, don't step in wet mud again. That's not a good idea." He's like, "Yeah, okay."
He learned it.
He did learn it. He did learn that. So
that's funny.
That's real. It was just real kind of one of those funny things. Just the way he put it is like, and maybe some underwear too, in case I got mud in there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No one wants muddy
underwear.
So
did that. Man, we spent time playing more video games with the kids as well. Like I said, I've been streaming on Twitch. I finally hit my 100th follower just the other day, so that was kind of a cool thing.
Nice.
And that 100th follower also happened to give me the free Amazon Prime, Twitch Prime subscription, which, tosses a couple bucks my way and is free to him. But it's cool because it was one of these things where this guy drops in, he's there for a little bit. He follows me, becomes a super friend, and then he drops a sub for me. And I was just like, man, I feel so unworthy when that happens. I mean, I know it's just a couple bucks, but it's like people are with the Amazon Prime thing or the Twitch Prime thing. I know it's free, but they can give that to anyone. So anyone who has Amazon Prime and has a Twitch account or subscribes and creates a Twitch account can follow me and then say hey, this month, I'm going to give you $5. And then, Twitch takes a little bit of it and whatnot, but it's real nice. It's unexpected. And so I always feel kind of humbled by that. And that was kind of a cool moment. And then just playing the game, I'm just digging Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order so much.
Right?
I want to live in this world. And some people told me a few things that changed my gameplay. I'd been using the double sabers pretty much the entire game.
Yeah.
And someone said, switch to the single saber. It's a lot more powerful.
Yep.
And I did, and I was like, oh, man. Because I was told right away, like, get the double lightsabers because you can hit faster and hit more and help crowd control. And so I was like, oh, okay, sure. Well, I'll just do that. Yeah. The single saber, man, that's where it's at.
Yep.
So, playing that, I saw a movie over the weekend.
Oh.
I saw the movie Joker, the Todd Phillips movie that just came out.
Yeah.
Because we'd heard all this stuff, and there was like rumors and potential controversy over it, and everyone was saying like it was really like, what was the word people used? Disturbing.
Right.
A lot of people use the word disturbing when they talked about it. And I watched it over the weekend, knowing that it was going to be kind of like a Martin Scorsese film. And I kind of felt it was kind of like a Scorsese. It was kind of this gritty crime drama that also happened to be an origin story of the character of the Joker. And just a quick reminder, this is not in like the continuity of like the DCEU Joker. It's just completely like a standalone thing. And it's literally like 2 hours of watching someone who has a mental illness become more unhinged, further from reality, and on the edge of a precipice until finally something happens that just pushes him over the edge. And then when he gets pushed over the edge, then like he has no moral compass, nothing holding him back, and he just starts reacting to things, trying to find a way to make himself happy, which happens to be like goes against every societal norm, right?
Right.
And I went away from it and I went, it was an interesting film. It was very much for me, it was kind of a think piece watching this and all the things and some of the twists and the turns, but it definitely is not like, it's like you can't compare it to any of the DCEU films or the MCU films for like an origin story, because it just has this very different feel to it altogether.
Yeah.
Very interesting, and I think Joaquin Phoenix, if he wins some of these awards for the award season, I think he's probably pretty deserving.
Yeah.
It was an amazing performance on his part. It really, really was.
Awesome.
So, yeah, I did that, and, then just the normal things. Brita's still watching Star Wars Rebels, and we're getting ready to kick our Clone Wars up into high gear, and just a bunch of other stuff, so... Yeah, that was my week.
Awesome.
Pretty good.
It sounds good.
Yeah, not too bad. Matt, it's time.
It's time to make someone's week bad.
Oh, how bad is it going to get for these Bothans?
It's going to get... not too bad, actually. We're just going to rip their arms off. That's all. Just their arms.
Which, of course, means they're still going to bleed out and die, and so many Bothans are going to...
but whatever. We don't
care. Yeah. So... It's bad, but it's almost like humane in the fact we're trying not to make it gruesome, but yet not humane in the fact that it's going to be slow.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay. I always have to let you know, many Bothans died to bring us this information.
Rest in peace, you Bothans.
All right, Matt, we're into Rebel Intelligence. It's a really weird way to get here this week. I literally tripped over 3 arms that were lying in the hallway just to get here.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the point. Yeah. Make an obstacle course for ourselves.
What do you got for me this week?
All right, so the first thing I've got is circling to kind of back to the Joker land, which is, I only say that because it's a DC property of Batman. Former Batman actor Christian Bale may be joining the MCU in Thor's Love and Thunder.
Really?
So he's potentially and likely going to be playing a villain. That is kind of...
Yeah.
There's no really other roles I feel like he could play.
Well, right. That makes the most sense,
It's
right?
kind of where because we know who the main character is, we don't know who the villain is. So Christian Bale as a villain in the MCU, my reaction was awesome because Christian Bale is great, and he's great in every role that I've ever seen him in. And
he's also really picky
Thor.
too about the roles he takes.
He is he's very choosy.
Yes.
A choosy guy. He's not Nicolas Cage.
No, he's not Nick Cage.
Kind of the opposite, which is so. Anyway, cool MCU potential news. It's not like confirmed, but it's making its way around, and these things almost always eventually become confirmed that these talks have taken place and that a deal has been agreed upon to see Christian Bale in Love and Thunder.
Well, think about it too. Like, we've seen a lot of big Hollywood actors come into the MCU only for a single film, and almost always they're the villain, because it is a little formulaic, except for Thanos, which his character kind of spanned this big, huge arc, right? Yeah. Most of the bad guy characters that come in, most of these villains, they're one and dones. Like Kurt Russell was an amazing character in Ego in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. But spoiler alert, he bites it at the end. We're not going to see him again. Right. Cate Blanchett as Hela in Thor Ragnarok. Wonderful character. Bites it in the end. We don't get her anymore. Even James Spader, who did the voice of Ultron. Like, boom. Kind of a one-off. Same thing with Obadiah Stane and what's his name? Oh, gosh, I can think of him. Jeff Bridges. Like, he, once again, that a great character, great actor, big name. So to me, it makes sense that if Christian Bale, like if this rumor is confirmed, Christian Bale's going to be the villain of that movie. Yep. Or the other very slight possibility is, do you think there's any way we're not going to see a Phase 4 and a Phase 5 and a Phase 6 that are all going to have some big overarching story that kind of ties a lot of stuff together?
It has to.
If it does, I know a lot of people out there, a lot of our types of people out there, we'll say, have said maybe Galactus is the next big villain. What if Christian Bale's going to voice Galactus?
I don't know. It's interesting. We'll have to see.
Do you really think Christian Bale's going to commit to like a multi-picture deal in a superhero franchise after the Batman movies?
I don't
know.
But
I don't think so.
I think he's going to be a one-off villain, but maybe, I don't know. We'll see. I love Christian Bale, and I love Thor, and I love Taika Waititi, and I love everything about everything. So this is exciting because Thor is cool. So,
okay, well, I'm going to then give you a little bit of DC kind of Rebel Intelligence here.
Okay.
So I mentioned how I saw
Joker.
Todd Phillips' Joker, right? So Todd Phillips is really kind of interesting to me because this movie has made over like $1 billion at the box office. And it is this like very, very gritty Gotham. And I got to say, and I told this to Brita, there has to be something contractual at Warner Brothers that if you're making any movie that has young Bruce Wayne and you're going to show the death of Thomas and Martha Wayne, it's the same thing every time. They're coming out of the theater, they're in the alley, Thomas gets shot down, they pull the pearls off of Martha and they fall all over the place, she gets shot down, and then they leave Bruce standing there. Because literally that scene happened and I went, yep, this is the obligatory scene.
Yep.
Like, that scene happens in the movie. And they're showing a little boy there. I'm like, okay, this is Bruce Wayne. This is who we know is going to become Batman eventually. But I kind of went, okay, this scene happens. But that's it. Like, we really, this movie is not a Batman film. It is not about Bruce Wayne. It's not about, what's going to become the legend of Batman. It's about the creation of the character of the Joker. Anyway, Todd Phillips said that he thinks that the Gotham he created is a beautiful Gotham, and he says he'd like to see someone tackle what Batman looks like in that Gotham.
Oh.
And he told this to Variety, a huge magazine. And when I heard that, I kind of went, okay. But he says, I'm not saying I'm going to do that. But it's interesting to me, the inclusion of Batman in our movie was kind of like, is Batman, like, does he make Batman Gotham? Does Gotham make Batman? And he wants to see if someone else is willing to pick up the torch and kind of do a spin-off in his universe of Gotham. And I looked at that and I went, okay, I would actually like to see a continuation down the road of this character and see Batman, because I enjoy Batman. Mm-hmm. And I would love to see Joaquin Phoenix play Joker again. Right. But to me, if you're the guy that had the vision and you created this thing, and to say like, I would love to see it, but I don't really want to do it. To me, I would just be worried if that's like my baby, that's my project, that's something I put my time and effort and energy into to try to create something in this world. I wouldn't want someone else to come in and take it over necessarily for fear of them trampling all over what I did and muddying what I did with their work.
Right.
That's just me. So I don't really understand Todd Phillips. I mean, maybe he just wants to do other things and he doesn't want to revisit this world again. He doesn't want to do it. And, okay, maybe I can kind of understand that, but don't tell him, like, make a sequel, but just don't do it with me. That seems weird.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. I agree.
And also maybe he's saying that because he knows, the likelihood's not possible because, we've got another Batman movie coming up that's in the DCEU.
Right.
So, I don't know. Anyway.
Interesting.
That's what I got there. Todd Phillips wants nothing to do with a spinoff, but would like to see one.
Well, I have to see that Joker movie because Gotham really is a character when you watch the movies, and it's each Gotham has a different kind of feel, and some of them are almost more cartoony than would like the Tim Burton versus the Christopher Nolan. It's all very interesting versus. Yeah, they all have different kind of feels to their Gothams. So I haven't seen this, so I don't know. The
biggest change was from the Tim Burton Batmans over to the Joel Schumacher Batmans.
Hey, I said cartoon. Anyway.
All right.
Moving on. Let's keep it in DC world.
Ooh, look at this.
And let's talk Superman.
Oh, please.
We've talked about Superman recently, I feel like. And about how we want it to be better than it is and better than it has been. And it hasn't been done right in a very long time. And we want it to be done right. So apparently, James Gunn has, in a screenshotted Instagram post, confirmed, that's now been deleted, that's posted to Reddit, blah, 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 blah. However, it's basically, and it sounds about right, has been confirmed that he was offered to do basically any DC movie he wanted, including a Superman film. And he passed on all of them to do Suicide Squad. That's the one he was most passionate about, so that's what he chose. So, I don't know. For me, a James Gunn Superman would be weird. Yeah. I don't know how that would look and how that would feel and what that would be tonally. However, also, if you're one of the biggest directors, I mean, James Gunn is massive now. I mean, he's super famous because of Guardians of the Galaxy, how amazing and successful and fun and energetic those movies were, and the controversy and him hired back and all of this stuff. I mean, he was in demand. For him to pass up on Superman, what do you think? Does that say something about the state of Superman and people
Okay, so I've
scared?
got lots of thoughts. Okay,
what do you think?
First of all, I think if he's passionate about Suicide Squad, which I remember when that was announced and I kind of went, really? Like, you want to go do Suicide Squad?
Yeah.
But if he's passionate about it, first of all, that means he's going to make a better product.
Yeah.
if he's passionate about it than he would if he's not passionate about it. Second of all, look at Guardians of the Galaxy. Both of those films. What works so well in those films is that it is an ensemble cast that all works together really, really well. It's well written. It's well directed. It was cast perfectly. And so he knows how to get the most out of the ensemble. Very similar to Joss Whedon in my mind. Joss Whedon, you go back to Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Firefly, even those scenes in the Justice League that he did, and then of course the big one, right? The Avengers. Yeah, sure. He knows how to make an ensemble movie. James Gunn's in that same category. I think he excels in ensemble cast stuff. So him going and doing Suicide Squad from that perspective, to me, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, okay.
Here's why I think another big reason why he maybe passes on Superman. We don't know the status of Henry Cavill. If Henry Cavill was still, sounded like he 100% was still doing Superman, and Warner Brothers made it sound like they're for sure still doing a Superman film, I think maybe you'd attract people a little easier. But it seems kind of like a risky proposition right now because Warner Brothers kind of backed off maybe we're done with Superman for a while. Mm-hmm. And then Henry Cavill's like, well, I'd like to play it and I still have the cape and the boots in and the tights in my closet, but we'll see. It's there's all this kind of unsurety out there right now. But here's the thing, and this is, I love Superman. Okay, I'm just gonna. I want to.
We know.
Everyone knows. Everyone knows. Yeah. Look at the dang title of the podcast, The Fortress of Nerditude. Superman really is birthed out of a time when patriotism and hope of America and all these ideals, truth, justice, the America way, were all very idolized and very glossy and shiny, and that concept of putting yourself above party, putting yourself above your own, needs, and putting your country first, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. That's sort of kind of ideal, even though I know JFK was, 20 years later than when he was created, but 30 years. But it's that kind of ideal, right? That's the world in which kind of Superman exists. And following the Christopher Nolan films, we had this gritty Gotham, and Warner Brothers wanted to kind of stay with the dark kind of Christopher Nolan type of feel, and they did that with Man of Steel. And while it's an okay movie, it doesn't really work for that character. And I think Warner Brothers really needs to be very calculating on what they do next with Superman. In my opinion, they have to return Superman to form, to make his world brighter, to make him more hopeful. More colorful.
Yeah.
It can't be this continuation of what I call the Zack Snyder verse, because that just dark gloominess doesn't work for that character. And maybe James Gunn just doesn't want to make that type of a character in that universe right now, if that's what Warner Brothers is doing, and so that's why he passed on it.
Yep.
I'm just shooting in the dark here.
Sure.
What do I know? I'm just a guy with a podcast. But
could be anything. But anyway, for what it's worth, James Gunn said, no thank you to Superman. I'll take Suicide Squad. Interesting. Makes some sense. I would be scared to do a Superman at this stage too. Too much controversy. Yeah. Yikes.
It's risky. Now, I think someone could do it. I think someone could do it right. But it's going to have to be that perfect person. And also, from everything that I hear, all the scuttlebutt, Warner Brothers really heavily meddles with their big intellectual property type tentpole films. And we've seen that time and time again in movies when the studios have a real heavy hand and they don't allow the creators an opportunity to create. We kind of get this movie by committee that never really is super satisfying to any one group of fans or another.
Star Wars.
I didn't say it. You did, but sure. Okay. I'm going to switch gears altogether. We're moving out of the DC,
All right.
out of the DCEU, away from Warner Brothers. So, The Witcher. The show is fantastic. It is not for children. It's an adult show. It's on Netflix. We've discussed this. However, there's a song. There is a song that is such a catchy little earworm. You get it in your brain and you cannot stop singing it. That song has been ported over into the game Beat Saber. So if you own Beat Saber over like on Steam or on PC, Oculus, whatever, someone's uploaded a customizable map for the song Toss a Coin to Your Witcher, and you can play that. I love stuff like this. I love it when fans take something that's super popular and then they put it in a game like, Rock Band or Guitar Hero, or in this case, Beat Saber, these kind of rhythm music-based games. I just love it. I just love it. And so I wish I had an Oculus Quest right now, Matt, because if I did, I probably would be playing the mess out of this. Playing
it
song,
while we're on the podcast.
right? Singing it, swinging my hands around, looking like a crazy maniac. But yeah, I don't know. You have any interest in watching that old Witcher?
Minimal, I'll be honest. Sort of, maybe, eventually. If I get around to it. Not super interested, though. I don't know. Doesn't really look like my thing.
Is fantasy kind of your genre? Do you like fantasy stuff? I know you like Lord of the Rings.
I like Lord of the Rings. I don't venture a lot down the fantasy route, though. I venture way more down a sci-fi route than I do a fantasy route. Love Lord of the Rings, though.
Will it help if I tell you that there is definitely like monsters and horror-ish elements
in this thing? I like
monsters.
I like horror-ish elements. That's the only thing that makes me somewhat interested in this. So
okay. We'll talk later.
Maybe
I'll see what
day.
I can do to convince you.
Oh boy. Can't wait for that discussion.
It's going to go like this. Do it. We're doing a movie club.
Oh gosh. Anyway, let's bump back over to Disney, because we always have to go back to Disney. So they had a little cute video, Disney Plus. It's like a minute long. That was like, hey, here's what's coming in 2020. Because we've talked about this, or I have voiced my concern over Mando's over. What do you got for everybody? Because people are canceling. Okay,
people are. Yep.
People are canceling. They're like, oh, check out what we've got. And then all the stuff that we knew was coming. And then WandaVision shows up. And it was like, wait, what? WandaVision? This was not supposed to go out until 2021.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking Disney felt the heat. And they're seeing subscribers go down. And they're like, well, we need to get this out now. And Kevin Feige's like, okay, we can do that. So we're going to see both the Winter Soldier show and WandaVision and The Mandalorian this coming
all
year.
in 2020.
Plus High School Musical, the musical, the series. Shout out.
Season 2, part 3.
Season 2, baby.
Esquire. The third.
I am really excited for this show, and we'll talk more about this later on in the podcast, but WandaVision to me seems really cool. It's super under wraps. They're playing it really coy with this one, and I'm just really, really interested because they keep saying half sitcom, half like Marvel movie-ish, and I'm like, this has me hooked. And all the promo images make me go, I can't wait. It has like that 60s kind of feel with like
kind of like a Norman Rockwell type of art style. Yeah.
Totally. So I'm excited. I'm glad that this got moved up because 2020 was looking pretty bare for Disney Plus. I was not super stoked because we know we're not seeing anything new from Star Wars, and I don't know. Hopefully they can start filling things out as the years progress.
I'm glad they're doing it too, because I was starting to feel the what am I going to watch? Like, we're watching family films on it, like older Disney stuff. And there's things like, Forky Asks a Question that comes out. So
good.
If they come out with a new one of those, like every week for like a few months and then it's like off for a month or two and then they come out with a whole bunch more. I don't know. Even if they, because they're like 2-3 minutes.
Yes.
Even if they continue to work on it and they've got a bunch in the tank, could you imagine if they did one of those a week all year long?
Be awesome.
I would love it. Anyway, yeah, I'm glad that they're going to start putting stuff up. I just hope they're not rushing anything.
Right.
I'm hoping they say like, we're like, like 70% done with it already. It's still filming. We could probably push it up a couple months and release it in like, October and then November or October and December. So technically it's 2020, but then maybe it bridges over to 2021. I don't know. Maybe it'll be something like that, but
yeah, I can see that. I can also see them pulling a Netflix with some of their shows. They release a part 1 and a part 2. So I could see them saying, okay, here's the first 6 episodes of WandaVision. And then you got to wait 4 months and then we're going to get WandaVision part 2.
They could. I hope they don't. I think that's a bad strategy if your stuff is complete.
Right. So I don't know. We'll see. I've seen Netflix do it on a number of shows. I don't know. If it's complete though, just give it to me. I have a vision of a year where it's okay. It seems like The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, or Bachelor in Paradise is always on. There's like 2-month break for people who like that show. That's what I envision for us as fans with Disney Plus. I envision there always being like something to talk about, a new show. And right now we're having a massive lull. We have no idea when these shows are coming out. It's a lull.
First of all, I didn't know The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, and The Bachelor in Paradise were still a thing.
Oh, man.
I assumed that was dead and over a few years ago.
Oh, Bachelor airs tonight. What are you talking about? It's Peter the pilot. He's the Bachelor, man.
Yeah, you know way too much about this.
I watch
really
it far too
this?
Much.
Yeah, who's really watching this in the Shaw
Bachelor in Paradise,
house?
but I do watch The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. I'm not gonna lie, and I enjoy it.
Hey?
It's a good time.
To each his own. Okay, well, Matt, my actual next piece of Rebel Intelligence actually is going to address the question you just asked. When are we getting more Star Wars for Disney Plus? So we actually know that we're getting a 7th season of the Clone Wars in 2020. And now it looks like that it's going to happen sometime in February. The Disney promotional site has started showing some stuff. It looks like it could be February 17th, according to a couple things that came out. And then the Disney Plus site promptly removed it. But a few places have reported on it and got some screen caps.
It looks like that day.
It looks like February 17th. So the interesting thing is going to be, I don't know if we're going to get the whole season dropped or if it's going to be a week-to-week thing. I kind of feel like Disney Plus with their new content is going to do we release a new episode every week so that you show up and continue to talk about this over a long period. I also think if you're a little light on new original content, stretching it out that way,
I agree,
makes a lot of sense.
Completely.
And I know the argument with the Netflix stuff. Like, right, The Witcher dropped, and I watched all of that in the space of like 4 or 5 days, and then we were done, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll watch it again because I enjoyed it and I want more of that. But if I'm getting it, it's like we said with The Mandalorian. We had 8 weeks of The Mandalorian. 7 weeks technically because we got 2 in 1 week, but
right.
But it was, and then I guess I don't know the weird timing. The other ones, like
one, and
yeah.
Anyway,
we got like almost 8 straight weeks of The Mandalorian. We got to talk about it for 2 months versus talking about it for 5 days, a week, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, Attack of the Clones. It looks like February. Not Attack of the Clones. Clone Wars. February 17th is the scheduled date. Now I'm excited for this because it's more Star Wars. But Matt, I got one other little piece of a rumor that's been floating around.
Oh dear.
I had a few people, so I was streaming on Twitch Jedi Fallen Order, and a few people jumped in, and we started having conversations about Rise of Skywalker, and Rebels, and Clone Wars, and I've convinced a few of our friends that they need to watch Rebels and then go to Clone Wars. And someone told me that it looks like there's a very high probability we may get a Star Wars Rebels spin-off show.
No.
Some sort of a sequel. And not only that, so I said, okay, let me go and look and find these sources.
Okay.
And I found the sources of these rumors, the places that are reporting on them, and they're saying that basically Dave Filoni is rumored to be heading this up because he is the man for all animated Star Wars. He also happened to be like the showrunner and creator and creative genius behind both Rebels and the Clone Wars. And that this show is going to pick up with 2 characters and follow their adventures as they are going to continue going out into the world to try to find people that we lost. And I hear that it could drop in 2020.
What?
Yeah, that's the rumor.
What?
Nothing's for sure. However, these 2 places that are reporting it have been fairly consistent and accurate with Star Wars rumors in the past.
Okay.
So
now we're talking.
So, how would you feel about Sabine Wren and Ahsoka Tano
Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me?
going out and having adventures together?
Oh gosh. I'd feel so good. I feel so good. I want more Rebels so bad.
I like that I kept this one off the radar so you couldn't pre-see this one, so I could surprise you with this. That's the rumor.
I had no idea. That would be amazing. And Clone Wars, amazing too. I saw that date though, and I went, oh my gosh. Because confession time, I have not watched Clone Wars.
Neither have I.
I need to watch. I have to watch it.
We've started. However, we're going to do the chronological order. Go to StarWars.com and you can see it. So we watched like 2 episodes, like one from season 3, one or 2 from season 3, like one from season 1, and then we watched the animated movie. And I remember years ago, Breed and I watched just the animated movie, and I was like, what is going on? I feel like we're kind of in the middle of, because we tried watching Clone Wars. We watched the movie and we're like, we feel like there's stuff that happened before this that we've kind of missed.
Yeah.
And then we went to the first episode of the first season and it didn't follow on what just happened in the film. And I was like, wait, what? So like now, and there was people that were introduced and it was weird. But now we've started it. We're not going very fast on it just because Breeda's trying to finish Star Wars Rebels. Like I think she just finished season 3 tonight and she's starting into season 4.
Okay.
So you got time, man. You can catch up. We can watch and talk about this together. I don't anticipate.
We have not that much time.
I don't anticipate watching 6 seasons of Clone Wars prior to February, but I am planning to this being one of the shows that I'm going to watch kind of throughout 2020 around other stuff.
Yeah.
To kind of fill in around things.
Totally need to watch Clone Wars. Anyway, that's awesome. Okay, cool. I've only got one more thing. We'll stay with Star Wars. And Rise of Skywalker. We'll go back to this. Dominic Monaghan.
Okay.
Who plays a minor role in Rise of Skywalker.
I didn't even know if he had a name.
I'm not sure not in the movie he doesn't have a name. I'd have to go look it up to see if... I'm sure he has a name, but I don't know what it is. Anyway, he had an interview with THR and he said, like a lot of Star Wars fans, I'm hoping there will be a director's cut so we'll get to see more and more of the stuff that was filmed. I wasn't there all the time, he said. But even in the short time I was there was so much stuff filmed that didn't make it to the theatrical version. Oh man, there was so much stuff. So, in The Last Jedi, there were some deleted scenes that were pretty well finished that didn't make it into the movie that we got to see.
Right.
But The Rise of Skywalker, from the rumors that I've read on Reddit, there is a lot of that movie left on the cutting board.
Right.
That was like finished. Like the first cut for JJ was over 3 hours long.
Yeah, it was like 3.5 hours almost.
So we know there's a ton, and we had problems with this movie, well documented. If you want to hear our thoughts, go back maybe 2 or 3 podcasts ago and listen to our Rise of Skywalker movie club. I'm not going to hope. I mean, I'm going to hope for it. I'm certainly never going to expect it because Star Wars seems to never do these things.
Right.
But I would love to see them do what Lord of the Rings did. And make it 4.5 hours long. I'm with him. I would love to see all of what JJ wanted to be in this movie because, like we said, it felt like too many movies crammed into one, and it was rough. So seeing more might be helpful in what the full vision was. I mean, there's deleted scenes documented with sources that talk about Emperor Palpatine, how he came back, why he came back, and it's just gone. We don't get any of that. Disney, Lucasfilm, whoever was in charge said, "Man, they don't need to see that." Yes, we do.
So here's the thing. Part of me would love to see the 3.5 hour cut of the film, only because I'd like to see what JJ originally intended and see if it really changes my opinion. Because I remember this was a few years ago on the podcast, we had Bobby Pauls on. And Bobby Pauls is a huge DC guy. And we were talking about Batman v Superman. And I was saying that was just a piece of garbage movie, that there was all sorts of things that just didn't make any sense. Characters making decisions that are like, well, why is this happening? And he said, oh, there's an ultimate cut of it that's kind of the director's cut that adds back in like an additional 22 minutes, and it's worth seeing. I went back and I watched that version. And after I came away from that version, I went, okay, it doesn't make me think the film now all of a sudden is great, but it does help fill in some of the gaps that caused me to have certain negative connotations in certain parts or certain problems and criticisms of parts. And so, like, coming away from it, okay, it's still not a great movie, but it's definitely a little bit better, and it doesn't feel so confusing and jarring. So I think that Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, if we got the 3.5 hour cut, I think we may get some of that. We might not feel so, I don't know, like go back to the light speed skipping. It wouldn't feel like the pace is light speed skipping through the whole movie, and we're just trying to get to the end and get a reveal and then send you home on your merry way. However, Matt, I have also read all these rumors, and someone who's quoting someone who knows kind of what happened and a lot of on-set things and things that have been said, and you definitely get the feeling that things were cut down, things were cut out because Disney wanted to probably keep it to a certain time frame. They didn't want the movie to be, pushing 4 hours. And they also wanted certain things to happen and certain things not to happen because they wanted to kind of keep the narrative in safer territory. I think there was a big reaction after The Force Awakens saying that The Force Awakens maybe was a little too safe. And JJ creatively might have been handcuffed a little bit in The Force Awakens because there was things that all of a sudden kind of show up, and he was saying, well, that never was originally intended to be there. It was done after the fact. So then when the Last Jedi happens, they bring in a director and they give him a lot more creative control, and he went a completely different opposite direction, and he made some bold choices. And there was a lot of backlash, and so Disney then came back on, and I think for Rise of Skywalker put on even harder restrictions, was more involved in the process because they said, we got to keep this as safe as possible because if it bombs, if it gets reviewed horribly, no one's going to go see it after the last one being so divisive. And so they wanted to play it safe. And I think that's what's happened.
Yep. I can't disagree. So anyway,
I don't think we're going to... So I guess what I'm saying is, for that reason, Matt, I don't think Disney's going to release a director's cut.
I don't either.
And
I think we'll see some deleted scenes, but I don't think that we're going to see
maybe. But I also don't want to see the fandom do to Rise of Skywalker like they did with freaking Justice League.
Yep.
If we start seeing hashtag release the JJ cut, I mean, we saw it just like originally, like for a day or two, but like if that becomes a big, massive thing, I swear I'm going to be so disappointed in the fandom because
I'm ready to move forward.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest.
Yeah,
I'm ready to look
too.
past Rise of Skywalker. Let's do something new.
Yep.
I'm already done.
And there's already rumors and talk about what that new something could be. Yep. I don't want to talk about it tonight because it's way too early and there's no real details. But Star Wars, Lucasfilm, Disney is going to move forward. We are going to get new stories in the same universe, but does not have to focus on these existing characters. We don't have to try to jam a film in to make it fit with all the lore and all the stuff. And so I'm excited for that. Mandalorian was a perfect example of that. We got a show set in that world, and it was amazing.
Agree.
All right. I feel like I've just been talking here for a lot, but I have one last thing here. So there's a little movie that was originally supposed to release like back in like 2017. There was supposed to be like a trailer for it, and it was supposed to get a release date of like in 2017, a trailer, and then it was going to release in 2018. This is the New Mutants movie. So this is an X-Men film property, but it's kind of supposed to be about a new batch of mutants, kind of separated, kind of standalone a little bit from kind of the whole normal kind of X-Men universe. Okay. And there was supposed to be a trailer in 2017, and it was supposed to be released in 2018. Well, then fast forward a little bit, and it was like, well, now, you know, with the way that the It Chapter 1 movie did, they kind of said, well, we want to kind of take the Breakfast Club meets the One Flew Over the Cuckoo Nest vibe of New Mutants, and we want to retool it and do some reshoots and lean more into the horror elements, which apparently they've done, or at least it seems so. Then basically along the way, the release date got moved from 2018 to 2019, and like February, then it got moved to like August of 2019. Then we know that Fox was purchased by Disney. Now all of a sudden, there's no news of what's going to happen at all. Disney comes in and basically says they're unimpressed with it. They feel it has like limited box office potential. But just today, we got the trailer for New Mutants, and there's a release date of April 3rd, 2020. So make no mistake, this is a Marvel film, but it's a Marvel film that still has the 20th Century Fox logo attached to it. It's being, produced by Fox. It is not an MCU film. I, though, was really curious, and it does, by the way, it does look very horror-esque. The trailer looks, things coming out of the walls and the horror music.
Sounds like I'm going to like it.
The creepy flashes. I think it's right up your alley, Matt. I really do.
I'm stoked. I got to watch this.
But here's the thing. It's January. It's early January, and it's got an early April release date. I don't know that it's going to be that big, especially considering I'm going to guess Disney's gone in and probably scrubbed any reference or any maybe cameo appearances by other well-known mutants, we'll say.
Yeah. From
it, because we know now that Disney owns Fox, that Marvel and the MCU are going to come back together. We're going to get things like Fantastic Four and the X-Men back under the MCU banner.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not going to want to have this little movie out there that they're going to have to now be tied into doing things that's going to release this. What I do think this does is we're going to be having a movie that Disney technically owns using the word mutants. And when we eventually do get to X-Men stuff, there could be some sort of reference to something that happened in this film as like a throwaway line or, a small little blurb. I think that could happen.
Yep. I can see that happening. Yeah, this is just like a movie that got too far along for them not to release it.
Yep, I think so.
And so they're like, okay, here you go. Dark Phoenix did really, really, really bad. Let's hope this isn't as bad.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
we'll see.
That's the question, is like, how many millions of dollars has been pumped into this thing already? Because I would have said, like, if it was only like $5 or $10 million, like it was really low budget, if I would have been Disney, I would be like, kill it. We're not doing anything with it. We're not going to jeopardize future plans. But my feeling is this movie has probably closer to 100 million into it.
Right. Got to try and make something out of it.
Also, it was $100 million of like Fox's money. I mean, it was pretty much made before Disney. So I don't know. I mean, it's questionable that Disney would even push it out anyway, but they're going to. So if you're into Teenage Mutant Ninja, no. If you're into mutants in that kind of teen genre that now has kind of a horror, kind of maybe Stranger Things-ish vibe, this might be up your alley. You might really enjoy it. I'm going to guarantee, though, that the likelihood of a sequel is probably really low, so don't get your hopes up too much that a whole world is going to be developed around these characters.
Right. Makes sense.
Yep. You think you'll go see that April 3rd?
I gotta see the trailer, but it sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, I should go take a look. I think it's up your alley. I think you'll like it. All right, Matt.
All right.
Last week, we did our 2019 review. We talked about TV/streaming, the video games, the movies in 2019 that we loved. And then, of course, we talked about the movies and TV and video games of the decade. Yes. And we put out the question of the week. We wanted to hear from you. Like, what was your game, video, movie, blah, 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 TV show of the year and the decade? And we got 2 answers this week that I'm going to read.
Okay.
The first one is from our email, fortonerd@gmail.com. And this is from Barry Cathcart again. So we got a repeat email from Barry.
Barry.
Get up in here, Barry. We like it. He says, "Hello, guys. I'll try to keep this simple. 2019. Movie? Hard question because I watch a ton of movies. I would have to say Joker. That movie surprised me, and I was not expecting it to be any good. But wow, what a movie." And then he says, "I don't care about conspiracies and such."
Okay.
Because there was a little bit of drama around it. And I do kind of agree. Like, it was a lot better movie than I thought it was going to be, but it definitely was hard. I mean, just the whole mental illness thing. It's 2 full hours of that. So, he says, "Streaming. I watch a lot of very good anime and a lot of very compelling stories, but I agree with you, both of you, The Mandalorian is the winner." He says, "Game. So this will come out of left field, but I loved my time at Portia. Such a simple but complex game, and the characters were very good in my opinion. It filled my Animal Crossing's itch. Come on, March." Because that's when we do get Animal Crossing's New Horizon. All right, he goes on to say, "Decade, movie, Star Wars The Force Awakens. I'd been waiting for a Star Wars movie with the original characters, my characters, for so long. And spoiler alert, the Han scene, I literally threw a temper in theater, kicking my leg rest with a long no." He did spell it out that way, by the way. I'm not just adding that effect.
I believe you.
I think that's kind of cool.
That's a good choice.
It's a good choice.
That is the most excited I had been to see a movie potentially in my life. So I can't argue against that being the movie of the decade.
It's a good choice.
I get it.
He says, "Game, this is easy because I put in over 1,000 hours in this game since it came out in 2011 and still go back to it today. You want to take a guess?"
2011? What are people playing in 2011? Minecraft?
Skyrim.
Of course.
He says, "I have it on computer, Xbox 360 and Xbox One, and I always change it up when I play. No fast travel. Have to eat regularly. Sleep at night unless the tavern, then sleep the next day. Best and worst, only use a dagger with no enchantments." Man, like, not only has he played it
hardcore,
but hardcore, like putting like strict like restrictions on himself. I like that. That's cool. I really do like that. He says, "Streaming. Peaky Blinders. This show crept up on me and took a couple of days off and binged it. I can't wait for the next season if it comes out. Also, it has Tom Hardy, such a good actor, one of my favorites. Thank you for listening, and type at you next time, Barry.
Nice.
I haven't seen Peaky Blinders. Have you seen Peaky Blinders?
I've heard a lot of good things about it, though.
Me too.
My brother really likes it.
I gotta find some time in my, 2020 filled Clone Wars year. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, the other one I'm going to read is from Peter Christensen. This is another email. He says, Dear Nerds, regarding the popularity estimates of streaming shows, while we can't be certain without the numbers that Netflix, Disney, and Amazon are never going to share, they sounded correct to me. The key number is that Netflix has over 150 million paid subscribers, roughly 7 times the number Disney Plus has. Netflix also has better internal promotion to viewers and probably more minutes viewed per user. Also, there are millions of hungry Game of Thrones fans looking for a new adult fantasy show, so I'm surprised that The Witcher had so many initial views. That actually makes some sense. I guess I wasn't thinking also about the scale of Netflix compared to Disney Plus.
Right, yeah.
So that does make some sense. He
says,
I enjoyed your best of choices. Here are mine. For 2019 movie, it's obviously Endgame for all the reasons you guys listed. Honorable mention to Alita Battle Angel for awesome robot fights, effects, and one of the most fleshed out post-apocalyptic worlds. And I gotta say, I still have not yet
mentioned this before.
I've not seen it yet, Peter, and I know you've talked about it before.
He's talked about that.
It is on my list. I promise I will get to it. He said, 2019 game. I was going to nominate Apple Arcade for being a new business model, subscription revenue to fund new game production, but I never got around to subscribing, so I have to pass. 2019 TV show. Again, obviously, The Mandalorian, and Disney Plus along for the ride. For honorable mention, I'll say Apple TV Plus for a solid entry into the streaming wars. For All Mankind and C were two of the more imaginative shows I've ever seen. I've got a... there's part of me wants to kind of take a look at those just because I know that they brought over the creative director of like 30 years from HBO to kind of run that now, and so I'm wondering if they're really going to start pushing out some like high quality content, kind of like HBO did for such a long time.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see what their next kind of foray is. I haven't kept up with Apple TV Plus, to be honest. I have it.
Oh, do you?
And we watched a couple episodes of Dickinson with Haley Steinfeld, whatever her name is.
Huh.
I've enjoyed it. It's a very modern interpretation of Emily Dickinson, the poet, and it was actually really good. And I did watch the first episode of For All Mankind, and it was good. But obviously it wasn't gripping enough to take me away from the other things I wanted to watch. So good. For me, they're good, but they're not good enough.
They don't have the draw to pull you away. That's okay.
It wasn't good enough for me.
I gotcha.
The things that I like.
All right. Peter goes on to say, for movie of the decade, my honorable mentions, in no order, Pacific Rim, giant robots punching giant monsters in the face. He does love that.
Robots and monsters.
He does.
Just
and
battles.
He's not wrong. Pacific Rim was a extremely, surprisingly fun movie.
Yeah.
Creed, the heart of Rocky with the action of Rocky IV.
Creed was great.
Creed was great.
Really great.
Avengers, a unique movie event and still one of the best MCU movies. Rogue One, second best Star Wars movie? ? Exclamation question mark?
I could see an argument for that.
I definitely think. He says, for my top pick, I went with my gut and picked the first movie that came to my head. And after reading some lists of top movies, I'm sticking with it. It's a movie written and directed by Christopher Nolan that starts with N, but it's Interstellar. It's basically Inception for nerds. It has a similar complex twist on the world of possibilities and unfolds in gradually through the plot while healing damaged family bonds. The only problem is that I can't convince my family to watch it with me. Here's something I hate to say, Peter. I haven't seen it either.
You haven't seen Interstellar?
I haven't. No, it was one of those things like when it came out and it was big and everyone was talking about it. I just was busy with a lot of other stuff. And like now I kind of keep forgetting that that's a thing because no one talks about it really anymore. Like it felt like it was a big hot thing at that moment. But
Yeah.
our society is now like, what's the new big hot thing? Let's talk about the next.
Right.
Ooh, Stranger Things. Hey, we're all shiny, distracted over here. And I kind of keep forgetting about it. Even though I think someone gave me a copy of it on DVD. So I think I actually
been
own
streaming
it.
places before, I think. I drop it anytime Matthew McConaughey's in a movie. From a Texan to a Texan, anytime he's in a movie, I'm in.
Well, all right.
He's my guy. Ride or die. That movie for me was good the first 3 quarters, like really good. And the last quarter, which is probably the nerd quarter he's talking about, I was like, no. Count me out. Kind of Inception for me. I was like, cool concept. And then I was so confused. I was like, nope, I'm too simple for this. Count me out. Nope.
Don't sell yourself short, Matt. You're not too simple. All right. He says, Peter says, I pass on Game of the Decade. Peter's not a gamer.
Okay.
That's okay.
Right.
For TV show of the decade, I'll start with honorable mentions. Mr. Robot is the best computer hacking show. The Good Place is smart and has a lot of heart. Daredevil began a new genre that I want to see more of. Man, I'd forgotten about Daredevil. Gosh darn it, that could have been in an honorable mention list for me. He says, but my top show of the decade is Brooklyn Nine-Nine. My favorite shows ever are long-running ensemble comedies with wacky characters and fast comedic pace. 30 Rock, Parks and Rec, Arrested Development, and just started watching The Office for the first time. Brooklyn Nine-Nine meets all those qualifications and has been canceled, switched networks multiple times, and is back for an 8th season. It's my leading candidate to join the holy foursome of comedies.
Wow, the holy foursome of comedies. Did he name them before, or are those the holy foursome?
I'm going to guess his holy foursome is 30 Rock, Parks and Rec, Arrested Development, and I'm going to say Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That makes his holy foursome.
Well, where's Community?
Well,
How is Community
well, that's
not
the thing.
Like the god of this?
Okay. Let me ask you this, though. And this is, I don't know, we're side tangenting here.
That's okay.
If you have to put Community, so let's say 30 Rock, Parks and Rec, Arrested Development, and Community, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and The Office. You got 6 amazing comedic ensemble TV shows.
Good. But I can sort them 1 through 6, no problem.
Really?
Oh, easy. Easy. And I don't even put those in my top. I got to throw in New Girl. For me, New Girl is up in there too. Ensemble comedies that really make me laugh.
I've never seen that one. I think for me, Brooklyn Nine-Nine actually would be at the bottom of those 6. It's worthy of the top 6, but it's at the bottom of those 6. Then I'd probably have to say, then Arrested Development at 5. It's the first 3 seasons, the original seasons were amazing. Right. Everything after that was just kind of, it felt like a shadow of its former self. Then I would probably put 30 Rock. I'd put 30 Rock at 4. Oh man. 30 Rock at 4. Office at 3, Community at 2, Parks and Rec at 1. That's how I'm going to go.
You are talking crazy.
No.
You are talking crazy.
I'll tell you why Community's not number 1 and it's Parks and Rec. For me, it's the simple fact that the first 3 seasons of Community are amazing. The 4th season is really good. Everything that follows just became kind of, It had bright moments. Office kind of was a similar thing. Once Steve Carell left, it kind of drops off. There's still great moments and great individual episodes. Yeah. Parks and Rec, literally, like, it starts off as funny, and then it starts ramping, and then it hits their stride about middle of the 2nd season, and from there all the way to the end is just bonkers, ridiculous, funny for me the entire way through. Okay,
I got no problem with that.
Where do you put your 6?
Crazy.
Where do you put your 6?
Oh, Community is number 1, and there's nothing that's ever going to come close to Community. Read the options to me right quick.
Okay. 30 Rock.
Okay, that's at the bottom.
Parks and Rec.
Okay, Parks and Rec is probably number 2.
Arrested Development.
Nope. Arrested Development's 2. Parks and Rec is 3.
Office.
Okay.
And Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Probably Brooklyn Nine-Nine and then The Office.
So run me down your it's Community at 1.
Community, Arrested Development, Parks and Rec, and then it was Brooklyn Nine-Nine and The Office.
And then 30 Rock at the bottom.
Yeah, 30 Rock probably at the bottom. Not because I don't love 30 Rock, but because
it's
it
the others. You find the others funnier.
I just think they, and it's not even a funnier thing. Community is the funniest show, but it's more than funny to me.
I got you.
And that's why. Anyway, wow, side tangent, successful. Thanks a lot, Peter. Gosh, dang you.
We could probably
always spend so much time with Peter.
We could probably have a whole podcast just devoted to TV ensemble comedies. We really could.
An entire podcast weekly for sure.
Weekly.
Oh man,
right.
I could do it.
All right, Matt, hit us up with how the Super Friends can give us a hand this week.
All right, so go watch Community. That's my weird random task. If you haven't watched Community, just put on the pilot, and I dare you not to love it and continue to watch that show. The other thing you can do, get your phones, get your iPads, get your tablets, get your smart devices. Say, hey, Google, listen to Fortress of Nerditude podcast. I don't know if it can do that, but try it.
You'd have to say,
Listen
okay,
to us.
Google. Not Hey Google. I mean, actually, Hey Google might work as well.
Hey Google works for me.
And right now,
Either
my
one.
I'm
phone's...
thinking productive thoughts for you.
Hey, thank you for that.
Thanks, Google.
And listen to the podcast. Obviously, you're doing it, but share it with your friends. Shoot it out on the medias of socialness. Shoot it out in face social media-ness. Talk to yourself about it. People are going to hear you. Talk to your dead ancestors about it. Just talk about it.
So
we'd love to have a conversation.
Last week you gave creepy advice about going and giving hugs to random people. Now you're telling people to have seances with their dead relatives and tell them about the podcast?
I'm not saying not to do that. So, however you choose to do that, if it's a Mulan Mushu situation, if it's a seance situation, if it's an altar situation, whatever religion and
put the Necronomicon down. Don't open a portal to hell and call forth legions of minions of skeletons or something.
No, we don't want that because then Doom becomes a real thing, and I don't want to be Doom guy.
All right. That's too funny. All right, Matt. So I thought it'd be fun since last episode was our recap on 2019, and this is the first podcast of 2020. It's a new year. We're looking forward to a new everything. I thought it'd be fun to look ahead at the things we're excited for this year. And maybe, I know your list is probably a little long. My list is a little long. So, we won't go into great detail, but let's talk about some of the things we're actually excited for in 2020. And this can be TV and streaming again. It can be video games. It can be movie. It can be books. It could be music. It could be personal, whatever it is. So where do you want to start? And let's go.
Oh my goodness. Books, movie, personal, nothing there.
I got something personal I'm looking forward to.
Okay, I do have something personal I'm looking forward to as well. Okay. Let's start with movies.
Okay, movies.
We kind of recently talked about this, I think, with some of the trailers that we talked about. Because anyway, I'll just give you my top 3 right quick. I'm going to go bam, bam, bam. These are the 3 movies I'm most looking forward to. And then you're going to say something and I'm going to add this.
Okay.
But my 3 movies I'm looking forward to in this order: Ghostbusters, Top Gun, and Wonder Woman. Those are my 3 movies I'm most looking forward to.
All 3 of those are on mine. Top Gun, Maverick, Ghostbusters Afterlight, and Wonder Woman 1984. And for the reason that all of them happen to be sequels based off existing characters that we know.
About that.
And I think sometimes it's easier to look forward to something that's comforting that you already know versus kind of the unknown. I actually, looking at this, I pretty much have almost all sequels on mine, except for, I'm going to say maybe 2. So, Bill and Ted Face the Music is also on my list.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that. That looks like just a silly, fun time, and I'm in for that.
Totally.
I'm really looking forward to Mulan, the live-action Mulan. I'm looking forward to this Disney live-action film more than any other Disney live-action film, and I think that's because this one is actually going to be full of all real people and not CG tigers and panthers and bears and whatnot.
Right. I get that. I'm hesitant on this one still. As we talked about on the podcast, I'm still hesitant. I'm excited.
Go back and
but
listen to the
hesitant.
trailer. Just listening to the trailer and the music in it. Like, I hear the music and I'm like,
They're teasing you. They're teasing
I
you
start
with
getting
the
into that
music.
mood. I'm like, yeah, bring it on. Okay. Black Widow. I'm excited for this because I'm more curious as to how they're going to try to go back now after all these years and tell some sort of origin story, some sort of...
Yes.
It's more
I'm
curiosity.
more curious about the why than than the actual movie.
Yep.
Like, okay, why? Why is this going to make sense? And then maybe the why is so cool that we're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait.
Okay.
But I
A
doubt
family movie on here. Onward, the Disney Pixar.
looks so good.
Tom
Yes.
Holland, Chris Pratt film.
Yes. Chris Pratt, Tom Holland.
Just that alone.
They play brothers. I mean, looking for their half pants dad or whatever in the trailer. It looks so good. Come on.
That looks really good. Okay, No Time to Die, the potential last James Bond film with Daniel Craig. I love a James Bond film. I've seen, I think, every James Bond film ever. So,
Hey, you know what I think about James Bond films? Give me an eye mask because Papa's going to bed.
no.
I can't follow him. You're going to learn this about me more and more. The second it gets confusing, I'm like, I don't...
And then your
James-
brain
or,
shuts down and you just go to sleep?
Well, the Jason Bourne stuff, I just am more mad that I don't understand what's going on. Interstellar, I'm like, what the heck? Inception? I can't do it. And that's the James Bond movies. I'm like, oh my gosh, 6 fake endings later, and now finally this is the ending, and I don't know what's happening.
The last movie is Dune. I loved that
Dune?
book. I want to see even though this is technically a remake because there was like the 1984 version of Dune with like Patrick Stewart and that movie's rough. It is a really good actual science fiction book. It's definitely worth reading, but like this is a big budget remake, a big budget adaptation of the book. I'm looking forward to this in such an extremely delightful way. I want Dune. I can't wait for Dune.
Cool.
Those are the movies I've got.
I hadn't heard about that. So
Have you ever read the book?
Nope.
It's a good read. You should get on that.
I probably should.
Add it to your list.
I have New Year's resolutions to read things, but they never come to fruition.
Make New Year's resolutions to listen to books.
I know,
Audible.
you've been telling me that for years.
And I'm not wrong year after year.
I know, because I still haven't read any books. So here we are in the same situation.
All right, where do you want to go next?
You pick this time.
Video
I
games.
pick last. Okay, let's go video games.
I'll start then. The easy ones right off the gate. Last of Us 2. That's probably Last of Us 2 and Final Fantasy VII Remake. Those are probably my two biggest excited video games that are going to come out. Those are games that I would stream both of them right when they release. I'll be able to stream Last of Us 2 right when it releases. I won't be able to stream Final Fantasy VII Remake right when it releases. I'll probably have to start about a week late on that.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk 2077 is on my list.
Of course, obligatory.
Yeah, that looks amazing. Marvel's Avengers is on my list.
Yeah, I'm on the fence about this one.
I think it could be good. I think it could be fun.
It could be good.
Yeah. That's why I'm excited for it. That's why I'm excited
know.
because I want to see this and I want to anyway. Animal Crossing's New Horizons.
Yeah.
I bought Animal Crossings on the GameCube years ago, and I played it somewhat, not a ton. I didn't really get hooked by it, but now that my boys are starting to play, if it's something that my boys might like to play and kind of get into, I could very easily be tempted to put in some time on that with my kids. The last one I have is a game called Gods and Monsters. It very much kind of has like this like Greek mythology feel to it, but it's very reminiscent of Breath of the Wild to me.
Yeah.
Kind of a similar art style and direction.
Art style, yep.
And so I'm kind of curious and I want to see that. So that's kind of on my list of things that I'm looking forward to in 2020.
Okay. Well, we cross on one thing, and that's Animal Crossing.
Okay.
Cross on one thing. Look, Animal Crossing is incredible. I am shockingly excited. For Christmas, Jesse got a Nintendo Switch Lite just because I knew that we would both be playing this game and we would not be wanting to share.
And you can play together.
The Switch. Yes, and we can play together. We can live on the same island as far as I know. This game is so fun. It's shockingly addicting. I had the same GameCube game, but unlike you, I played it endlessly. And I'm afraid when I die and go to heaven and God's like, well, let's look at your hours logged. Oh, 15,000 hours into the GameCube version of Animal Crossing. That game is so good. It's so much fun. Anyway, so I'm stoked. That's my number one. Easy.
Okay.
And then I'm looking forward to the Lego Star Wars Complete Skywalker Saga.
Yes. Good call.
That looks like... I'm excited for that because we haven't seen a Last Jedi or a Rise of Skywalker game.
Yep.
And so this is going to give us the whole thing. Play it whenever I want. Play with Emmy. Like, it's fun. It's silly. You don't really ever die. You just kind of go.
I probably will pick that up and I'll stream that because that's something I could toss in and stream like part of it like once a week just for like a fun stream. Yeah.
Right.
Easy.
That one's going to be fun, I think. The next one is Ghost of Tsushima.
Ooh.
I don't know how much you know about that game or how much you've seen of it. We haven't seen a lot and we don't know a ton. From what I understand, this is a samurai action game with certainly some open worldy elements. I'm hoping for a fully open world samurai action game.
Yeah.
That's what I hope for. The trailers look really cool. We haven't seen like really good gameplay and stuff. It's been shown off a couple of trailers. But that movie has a lot of potential that game has a lot of potential for me just because the open worldness always intrigues me. Being able to do whatever I want. Just the linearity of games drives me nuts sometimes. And then my final game is a game that has not been announced for 2020, but I am predicting it comes out in 2020, and that is Breath of the Wild 2.
You're wrong. No way.
I think that's coming out in December of 2020. It's their big Nintendo release at the end of the year.
I think that's easily 2021.
Well, I think it's
not
easily 2021 too.
If not 2022.
Today that it is coming out in 2020 and I'm excited for it.
Okay. You know what? I do have something in my TV streaming category that may or may not hit 2020. So I think you're fine to put something in here that you're hopeful. You're hopeful.
We don't know.
I mean, we did get a little brief shot of it last year in the Nintendo Direct at E3 in 2019.
That was a while ago.
It's only a year though. Man, with video games though, we're so used to like, and here's a little teaser, and here's the game 5 years later.
Yeah, but it's Nintendo. They don't do that very often. The only time they jump the gun is really Metroid Prime 4, and they really effed that up.
Yep. All right.
So anyway.
Before we get to the TV streaming, I have a personal thing that I'm looking forward to that I wanted to talk about. Okay. Yeah. It is the Hawaii trip that we're taking in 53 days.
53?
I counted today.
Okay.
Brita and I, we didn't really take a honeymoon. We got married, and we just kind of stayed in town for a day or two, and then we had to get back to our jobs and doing stuff. And so we said that when we had our 10-year anniversary, we were going to go to Hawaii to celebrate.
Right.
And we hit our 10-year anniversary in 2019. We're going to be going before we hit our 11 year, so we're still in our 10th year of marriage. And my mother-in-law is going to come down and stay with the boys for like 11 days while we
Oh my
actually,
gosh.
we're going to
Bless your
be
heart,
actually more
Chris.
like 12 days because I think we've got like 2 days basically of travel. Then we're going to be on the islands for like 10 days. So she's going to be here for almost a full 2 weeks, watching and taking care of our kids. And so like, I'm super great. I'm absolutely grateful that she's willing to do that for us and allow us to have this opportunity. But I'm really looking forward to just having that time with Brita to go do stuff and have fun and get a little bit of a break and just kind of celebrate the way we weren't able to when we got married. We were, younger. We didn't have money. We had a lot of debt. We weren't in like a position that we could make that happen. And so the fact that we can make that happen, I'm really looking forward to that. It also does overlap with the Final Fantasy VII Remake release, which just, that kind of hurts. But I mean, I gotta put my wife ahead of a video
it'll
game.
be there.
So
It'll be there when you get home.
that's right. So that's a personal thing I'm looking for. Did you have a personal thing?
I do. Now that you say that, and I just had to Google it. In 314 days, I can't wait. We're going to Disney World.
Ooh, nice.
So we try and go to Disneyland or Disney World every calendar year since we got married, and we've been successful. And most years it's been twice, or in many years it's been twice, and or a Disney cruise.
So you're just barely gonna hit it in 2020.
Well, just barely, because our last trip was like March of last year, right after our cruise. We went to Disneyland, and now this one is going to be, but it's calendar year. So the same thing, Chris and Chip, they're going to come down and hang out with Emmy and Lando, but we'll only be gone for, I think, like 5 or 6 days.
That's so
and
cool.
We're going to do our Disney World trip, and it's our 5-year anniversary this year, so that's kind of what we wanted
Congratulations.
to do for our 5 years. Yes, thank you. And it's exciting. So that's my personal excitement situation.
Man, I'm just thinking back to your wedding, and I can imagine it so vividly, but I don't remember like the wedding, the reception of it very much. I just remember like dealing with my kids because Jackson was like having this ultimate meltdown. I was just like, bleh. Yeah. And I remember like going and like getting like Wendy's food for something like 15 kids and like going and spend like $40 and like chicken nuggets and fries and just like feeding the kids. And everyone's like, you don't have to feed my kids. I'm like, no, I'm feeding kids. If I'm feeding some kids, other kids are going to come and steal food and want food. I'm
true.
I'm like, I'm the peddler. I'm the Wendy's peddler right now.
Yep.
I remember that day very, very vividly, but not for the same reasons you remember that day very vividly.
Well, that day was a whirlwind. I don't remember much of it at all, to be honest. But it was a good day.
You did have macarons there, those little cookies. I think I had one of those.
Delicious cake, and we had Italian sodas.
The Italian sodas.
I didn't get to have any of it, so
that's how it is. I've been there.
Golly. I guess we're going to talk about shows.
Yep. All right. What do you got?
So I'll go first this time. Also, I'm gonna throw in a random one. Something I'm looking forward to that probably should have gone in the video game category is PS5. I'm looking forward to PlayStation 5 coming out.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
That's like a duh thing. Like, yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, holiday of 2020.
I'm not stupid. All right, so TV shows. Mandalorian Season 2.
Obviously.
WandaVision.
Yep.
And Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yep. I got all of them.
Those are the 3 shows. Ironically, they're all on Disney Plus. I really tried to find and think about shows that were coming out this year that I knew. And maybe you'll hit something that's going to strike a nerve with me, but those were really the only 3 that I was like stoked on. I mean, I'm most excited, like I said. I mean, I know what I'm getting with Mandalorian, but I'm most excited for WandaVision because I just feel like there's this mystery around that show. And it's not that I even love either of those characters, to be honest. They're kind of always afterthoughts for me. And that's maybe why I'm excited for this, because it's going to flesh out more story for them and their relationship and probably a lot of other characters that are involved.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for this one. It's really intriguing because I don't think it's going to be the straightforward action. They're delving into new territory. So that's the one I'm most excited for.
I have all 3 of those on my list. And so, yeah, easy. Even though I haven't seen much of the Clone Wars, I have the Clone Wars Season 7. The fact that Disney Plus is bringing that back after it looked like that was dead and we weren't going to get any more. More Star Wars, more animated Star Wars, I'm excited for. Muppets Now. That was on my list because I love the Muppets.
The Muppets, yeah.
Muppets are so good. They make me laugh so much.
They're great.
So that's on my list. Okay, here's the last thing. This is not confirmed for 2020, so this is kind of my wishful thinking, is the Wheel of Time series on Amazon Prime. And the reason is because in 2019, they started announcing a lot of casting news, and I think they've actually started filming. And so my hope is that before the end of 2020, I'm hoping late, maybe November-ish of 2020, the first season of the Wheel of Time series on Amazon Prime gets released. That is a fantastic fantasy book series. I mean, it's right up there with some of the big, heavy hitters in that genre. It's deep. There's 14 books. There's a lot of material they can pull from. If this thing takes off the way I hope it does, this is going to be the next, kind of Game of Thrones, like people clamoring for stuff like this. It's more akin, I think, to Lord of the Rings than maybe Game of Thrones, but still, it's going to scratch that itch for a lot of people, and it can go for quite a while with source material. So the Wheel of Time, that's kind of a wishful hope. I hope
Sure.
It comes in 2020.
Well, we'll see. Amazon, I don't know what they're doing with these properties. We're not getting anything. Like Lord of the Rings was announced in 2017, and now we're just sitting on our hands waiting for something to happen.
I looked to see if there was much to give me hope for 2020 on this Lord of the Rings. We should probably start calling it Middle Earth because it's really the second age of Middle Earth. It's not really based on the Lord of the Rings. But that property, I honestly think it's going to be 2021.
I think it's going to be 2022.
Ooh, I think
it's a ways out. They haven't even started yet. And if it's going to try to reach the scale of the movies, which I think they're going to try,
they're going to need time in post.
We got some time, man. We got some time.
Well, Matt, those are the things we're looking forward to in 2020. But we want to hear from the Super Friends. We want to hear from you. What are you looking forward to in 2020? It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to fit into our categories. It doesn't have to be a movie or video games or TV streaming. It could be personal things. It could be books. It could be movies. Heck, it could be sports. I don't care. But I want to hear from you.
Ooh, wait, sports.
What are you excited for in 2020? 2019's over. We capped that year off. We're looking ahead. We're positive. What are you looking forward to? Let us know at all the normal places. You can get us on our email, forwardofnerd@gmail.com. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/forwardofnerd, Twitter @forwardofnerd, Instagram forwardofnerd, or you can dial that voicemail number and give us a message, 801-477-7687. And we will talk about your answers next week. Matt, episode 163 in the books. I love it. Well,
very nice.
From all of us here at the Fortress of Nerditude to all of you out there, wherever you may be, may the Force be with you always.